So now we're in section 3. We're going to discuss Islam after Muhammad, the rise of the Ottoman Empire, and analyze the split in Islam. So after Muhammad's death, his followers quickly chose Abu Bakr to be the next leader. And this is going to be known as a caliph, a caliph, which is a title that Muslims use for the highest leader of Islam. This is going to lead to the term caliphate, which is a government ran by this leader. Early caliphs were not religious leaders. They were political leaders. Abu Bakr made it his mission to unite Arabia into a unified Muslim state, which he did accomplish in 634. They defeated the Persian and Byzantine empires, which were weak from many years of fighting. And when Muslims invaded a land, they would force the people to convert to Islam fully. The only exceptions were Christianity and Jews that were not forced to convert, but they were treated like second-class citizens. So they would let Christians and Jews not have to convert, but they would treat them worse than they would regular people. Early caliphs came from the Umayyad family. The Berbers in northern Africa resisted Muslim rule at first, but after years of fighting, they converted. So we're seeing the spread of Islam during this time. Islam started to expand to Spain, which was led by the Moors for 700 years. This is going to last until Isabella and Ferdinand defeat the Muslims at Granada and take over that area again for Spain. Arab merchants took Islam to India, Africa, and Southeast Asia, and that's really how Islam is going to spread, is through the trade caravans. Trade also brought new products to Muslim lands such as paper, gunpowder, cotton, rice, and oranges, and Arab traders grew wealthy from trade between regions. Muslims generally banned or controlled the religious activity of the people they conquered. They wanted to make sure that no one there was undermining their beliefs. They let Christians and Jews keep a lot of their beliefs since the faiths were similar, but they made them pay a special tax. The Arab culture would have an impact on the cultures of the people of the Muslims conquered, so they would conquer the people's culture. So would the conquer people's culture on the Arabs. So they would. We see a lot of this, and we saw this when we talked about Rome. That when Rome conquered Greece, they took on a lot of the Greek factors and brought it to Rome. That's what happens here. When you trade with people, you share your ideas, they share theirs, and there's a little bit of a mix there, diffusion between both sides. The growing Muslim cities showed the growth of trade and culture. Baghdad became the capital of the Islamic Empire in 762, and it was a center of culture and learning. Baghdad has always been a center of culture and learning, but also the capital of the Islamic Empire. It always has played an important role in the Islamic Empire. In the mid-1200s, Muslim Turkish warriors known as the Ottomans began to take the territory from the Christian Byzantine Empire, and they would use janissaries, or slave soldiers, to fight. They would convert to Islam and become fierce warriors. Mehmed II led the Ottomans to conquer Constantinople. Every time I say his name, I think of the guy from the movies. Mehmed. That reminds me of bad impression, but still. Mehmed II led the Ottomans to conquer Constantinople, turning it into Istanbul, which is what it is today. Later, Sultan continued to expand and would go into Syria and Egypt. Suleiman I, was the one who led the Ottomans to their height. And you see that under Suleiman I, this is the Ottoman Empire right here, all this yellow. So it's a big part of the Mediterranean region. A group of Persian Muslims known as the Safavids were gaining power to the east, and conflict arose over the old debate who should be caliph, and this caused a split in the Islamic faith. You have the Shia, which thought that Muhammad's descendants should be caliph, and the Sunni, which believed that caliphs didn't have to be related to Muhammad. They believe anyone that would be a good leader needs to rule, not just someone because they're related to Muhammad. This conflict affected the Safavid Empire when the Safavid leader Ismail made the Shia the official religion of the empire. This was going to try to expand their empire by strengthening the military. The Mughals were Turkish Muslims from Central Asia, and in the mid-1500s, an emperor named Akbar conquered new lands and began a tolerant religious policy, which means acceptance. They would be accepting of other religious beliefs. Which, once again, even though a lot of the Muslim people focus mostly on that, a lot of times they are very tolerant of other religions. And so that brings us to the end of section 3.